Wayans. New Jimmy Kimmel Live later tonight.
We have updates tonight on absentee voting in Ohio.
A federal court finding a provision in Ohio House Bill 458 violates the Voting Rights Act. This is a win for voters with disabilities, coming after the League of Women Voters of Ohio filed a lawsuit against the state. Generally Borick joining us from the Montgomery County Board of Elections to break down this decision.
This section of the bill limits who can have or return another person's absentee ballot. The League of Women Voters argued this unlawfully affects voters with disabilities who may need help from someone who isn't authorized under this part of the bill, and they won.
We had been hearing about these challenges for a long time, both from caregivers as well as voters with disabilities.
On Monday, a federal court ordered a provision in House Bill 458 can no longer be enforced against a voter with disabilities or anyone who assists a voter with disabilities when returning an absentee ballot. The League of Women Voters of Ohio sued the state over this section. In the expedited case, the judge ruling that section violates the Voting Rights Act, which allows a voter with disabilities to select whoever they want to assist them with their absentee ballot.
Our concern with 458 was that it made it a felony for grandkids, roommates, in-laws, and other common sense helpers to assist their loved ones while voting.
These relations you see here are allowed to assist any absentee voter, but before this ruling, there were no exceptions for voters with disabilities. Previously, anyone not on this list that helped with an absentee ballot could be charged with a fourth-degree felony. I asked Ohio State Senator Niraj Antani, a co-sponsor of this bill, why this provision was included.
We want to make sure that ballots are returned to the Board of Elections securely, and anytime random people can collect ballots and return them, that is not secure.
The court's ruling means felony charges can no longer be applied to anyone assisting a voter who has a disability with their absentee ballot. I reached out to Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRosa's office about this ruling. It responded saying, quote, "We obviously disagree with the decision and will be consulting with our counsel, the Attorney General, on next steps. This is a challenge to a law passed by the General Assembly, which has the exclusive authority to set the rules of Ohio's elections, so they'll likely be considering the court's ruling here as well," end quote. Antani sharing his thoughts as well.
In my opinion, we should do whatever we can within the guise of the law to ensure that, ballots are returned securely.
Now, Attorney General Yost will decide if the state is going to appeal the court's decision, but for now, the provision can only be applied to people helping voters who do not have disabilities. Back to you.
Well, roads back open tonight after a reported standoff in Springfield. According to Springfield police, the situation started just before 6 p.m. in the 700th block of North Belmont Avenue and continued up until about an hour ago. At first, police told us 2 people barricaded themselves inside a home and traffic was blocked off as police investigated. However, in the last hour or so, we've learned this incident stemmed from a theft involving a firearm and that nobody was barricaded inside. Police are now looking for possible suspects, but we'll continue to update you on air and online as soon as we learn anything new about this story.
We have a live look at the roadways now from our ODOT cameras. I-70 East in Clark County is back open after 2 major crashes. One of those involved a stolen car in a chase with deputies. Now, the crash ended when that car crashed into a cruiser. 36-year-old John Anderson was arrested, faces several felony charges tonight. Investigators say he'd been involved in multiple chases this morning with different agencies. And another unrelated crash happened about a mile behind the chase involving 2 semis. Now, one of those drivers was taken to the hospital by care flight.
And a man is now behind bars in connection with a hit and run that seriously injured a 9-year-old girl on Wayne Avenue Monday night. 55-year-old Jeffrey Atkinson was booked into the Montgomery County Jail on Tuesday, charged with leaving the scene of an accident, aggravated vehicular assault, and OVI. His bond has been set at $500,000 and he'll be back in court for a preliminary hearing August 5th. Now, on Tuesday, we showed you this surveillance video catching the hit and run on camera. The 9-year-old is in the ICU and is stable.
We have an update to a crisis in the classroom story we've been following for months now. A trial date has been set for the woman accused of assaulting a DPS bus driver last year. 29-year-old Martia Franklin is going to stand trial on August 5th. She faces 1 count of felonious assault with serious physical harm. Back in December of 2023, a camera on the school bus appears to show Franklin walking onto it and then punching the driver in the face. The bus driver suffered a broken nose and orbital fracture. Prosecutors say Franklin was upset because the driver didn't pick up her son at his stop at Emerson Academy. And you can find all of our previous coverage of this story at Dayton247now.com. Just click on Crisis in the Classroom. It's a heading in the News tab.
The mother of the toddler who police found clinging to life in an apartment will spend nearly a decade, behind bars. 26-year-old Rabia Mbali was convicted of felony assault and child endangerment after pleading no contest back in May. That means she did not admit to nor dispute those charges. Back in January, police found her 3-year-old laying in a room covered in bug bites and underweight. Mbalia was sentenced to 7 to 10.5 years and was credited for nearly half a year of jail time.
Prosecutors now asking to try 2 16-year-olds as adults in the death of a Columbus mom. Now, she was killed, you may remember, while trying to stop her stolen car with her young son inside. Steve Levine explains where those murder cases head from here.
The 2 16-year-old suspects were not in this juvenile courtroom when county prosecutors put the court on notice. They would be asking to try the juveniles charged in the murder of 29-year-old Alexa Stakely as adults.
It is not a game. It's very, very serious if they're bound over and convicted.
Investigators say Stakely, a young mom, was killed after she was thrown from the hood of her car July 11th while it was being stolen with her young son in the back seat. Days after police released photos of 3 suspects, investigators say a 16-year-old showed up at police headquarters with his parents Wednesday afternoon, admitting he and 2 acquaintances were looking to steal a car in southeast Columbus when they found Stakely's Honda running in a parking lot. Police tell us the teen admitted to stealing the car and then panicked behind the wheel, striking Stakely. 2 other suspects who police say were there when the car was stolen were in custody by Wednesday night. We've learned the 2 16-year-olds have no criminal record.
To have no record whatsoever and go straight to a murder charge is very rare.
I know it's a tough case. I know it's terrible what happened, but Mr. Dowling is presumed innocent.
19-year-old Gerald Dowling, the only adult charged in the case, locked up on $10 million bond. Dowling did not appear in court on the charges. The 2 16-year-olds, students in the Canal Winchester School District, where Stakely was a speech pathologist, now being held in the Juvenile Intervention Center. Prosecutors say the serious charges should send a message to any kid thinking about getting near a stolen car.
Think twice, because in the blink of an eye, you can go from what seems like a fun little trip to spending the rest of most of your life in prison.
90 days from now, a new law will be in effect that will crack down on hooning and police chases across Ohio. Lydia Bice spoke to a state representative and local law enforcement about why this is needed.
Both State Representative Phil Plummer and Dayton Fraternal Order of Police President Sergeant Kyle Thomas agree that House Bill 56 was necessary in order to have tougher penalties for those who lead police on chases or engage in hooning, also called reckless driving.
So what it does is it increased penalties. So before, if you ran from the police, there wasn't a whole lot of consequence. Now if you run from the police, it's a 3rd-degree felony. You're going to go to prison.
Now, we asked the Dayton Fraternal Order of Police how beneficial this new law is going to be, especially as they saw 58 police chases in 1 year last year, as well as numerous different hooning takeovers in our streets.
You know, as you know, with this hooning and all the crowds, how dangerous it can be. They take over the streets. I mean, definitely potential to disrupt innocent taxpayers' lives or get people hurt.
Now again, Governor DeWine signed this bill into law yesterday, so it won't go into effect for 90 days, but that will be Tuesday, October 22nd. Back to you.
All right, now a live shot of satellite and radar here. Nice conditions today, blue skies, and when you pan out, you can kind of see why. High pressure sitting over the Great Lakes, rotating counterclockwise. Here, a front that moved through yesterday sitting down to our south. Very, very slow moving, and it keeps stalling out. It's sometimes becoming stationary, keeping all that rain and cloud cover to our south. Now, as we head towards the weekend, it'll stay that way as well. Saturday looking pretty nice, temperatures in the 60s, making it up into the 80s. And as we head towards Sunday, a little bit warmer, a little bit more humid as well. So you'll want to spend some time by the pool before we have the chance for some rain that'll arrive later in the day on Sunday.
Well, it's been 23 years now since a bride-to-be vanished just 3 weeks before her wedding day. Now, more than 2 decades later, we are investigating what happened to 28-year-old Nikki McCowan. She was last seen at a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana on July 22, 2001. 5 months later, Nikki's car was found at an apartment in Dayton. But to date, she's never been found, and while police had 3 viable suspects, they still don't know what happened to her. The first 2 episodes, they are out now. You can scan the QR code on your screen to download or search Missing Nikki McCowan in the Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast platform you use. And make sure you subscribe so you always know when a new episode is available.
An Ohio training officer charged with a misdemeanor in connection to the shooting death of another officer. What the family's attorney is saying about the case.
And coming up, we'll take a closer look at that full forecast so you know what to expect as we head towards your weekend. Eagle Plumber Skycam, live shot right there. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
And help kids succeed in school.
Well, with the upcoming new school year and Ohio's annual tax holiday approaching, everyone gearing up for some back-to-school shopping. So Eli Burgett visited the Beaver Creek Walmart to find out how you can make the most out of your annual school shopping trip.
When it comes to back-to-school shopping for things like markers, folders, and pencils, the last thing anybody wants is stress. And after speaking with representatives from Walmart, I learned how you can make your shopping experience both easy and inexpensive.
Well, we know our customers are very interested in value and pricing, and so Walmart provides a one-stop shop opportunity for them to get the basics that they need to get their kids back into school.
With the upcoming sales tax holiday being extended from 3 days to 10 days, local retailers are committed to making back-to-school shopping as easy as possible. From introducing sensory-friendly hours to having all of the local school lists on their websites, back-to-school shopping in 2024 is more accessible than ever before. In addition to the sales tax holiday being extended, the items that qualify for the tax exemption have also been changed. For 2024, any tangible personal items under $500 are qualified for the sales tax exemption. The annual sales tax holiday in Ohio begins on July 30th and runs all the way through August 8th. So at any point during that time, you can stop by your local Walmart or go to walmart.com to see all of the deals that they have. I might actually buy this one. Back to you.
Well, it's certainly hard to believe, but for many, school does start back up in about a month, so it's a good time to start looking for new clothes, pick up those school supplies, and make a call to your doctor. I spoke to Dr. Roberto Colon with Premier Health on how to be prepared health-wise for the upcoming school year.
Has it been more than a year since they have seen their health provider? Are they overdue for any vaccinations?
Dr. Roberto Colon with Premier Health reminding everyone back to school is about a month away.
Every time we start the school year, we end up seeing this increase in respiratory illnesses that doesn't always translate into COVID. Very often, it's going to be the common colds that we see out there, some adenoviruses, occasionally gastrointestinal illnesses.
This is why he says it's so important, not just for your kids, but you as well, to stay up to date on health screenings and vaccines.
They not only protect the individual, but they also ensure that the entire population has a level of immunity that allows other kids that may not be able to get the vaccines for legitimate health reasons to still be protected, because it reduces the amount of circulating disease that we are going to be seeing out there.
But Dr. Colon says the next few weeks could be crucial in setting up your student for success this school year.
Get them back into reading and writing, a little bit of practicing, so that when the school year begins, they've already had some of that reestablishing of what is going to be expected of them.
Now, in the state of Ohio, there are a few shots students are required to get, according to the Department of Health. This is a look at that website now. Kindergartners through 12th graders must have a total of 5 shots. That includes measles and chickenpox. As students head into 7th grade, they also need to get the Tdap and meningococcal shots. Now, we have all this information and more back-to-school reminders on our website at Dayton247now.com.
Well, tomorrow is the last day of our back-to-school drive benefiting area students. We're once again partnering with Cranston Classrooms. We've got a school bus parked right outside our station loaded with your donations. Now, to stop by and donate during regular business hours, we are at 2245 Corporate Place in Miamisburg.
All right, now look at the future cast. Pretty quiet, really, with that high pressure that we have in place to our north. Going to keep things nice and calm, excuse me, as we head through your Friday morning. You can see here mostly sunny skies, maybe a couple of passing clouds out there, but generally speaking, beautiful conditions. And we'll have those winds out of the north and northeast. You kind of saw there with those formations of those clouds. That's some fair weather cumulus clouds is what we call those through the afternoon and evening hours. Staying relatively cool as well, only making it into the low 80s tomorrow. Now, as we head towards your Saturday morning, starting off beautiful again, mostly sunny skies, nice and clear. Beautiful morning, and now we'll get out and maybe enjoy it. Saturday evening, staying clear once again, but we'll start to see those clouds build in as we head towards your Sunday, ahead of our next weather maker that arrives in the late afternoon and evening hours. So you can see here that moisture starting to build off to the west. So that we'll watch that for that chance of some rain as we head towards the evening Sunday. But the next 12 hours tonight, making it down into the low 60s before that sun comes out, and we quickly rise into the low 80s.
A deadly shooting of a state officer leading to a misdemeanor homicide charge instead of one that could keep an instructor locked up for years. Now, the family of Rodney Osborne say they're outraged and they demand to know exactly what happened before his death. Lisa Rontola talks to the attorney representing the family.
The lead instructor, he's pretty messed up right now.
A description of an emotional training instructor and images of crime scene tape going up at a shooting range for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections are some of the few records released in the death of Corrections Lieutenant Rodney Osborne. Then this month, a grand jury indicted Command Officer David Pearson on negligent homicide a misdemeanor of the first degree.
With this indictment, it reads in a way you don't know if he's the one who fired the weapon, correct?
You can't tell what's going on. None of it makes sense. There's so many questions unanswered at this point. It's stunning.
Mark Kittrick represents Osborne's widow and 3 kids.
They're distraught, very, very disappointed and angry and frustrated.
According to the coroner's report, Osborne was shot during a demonstration on the shooting range. He was wearing a bulletproof vest, but the bullet entered his chest above the vest line. The indictment reads Pearson negligently caused Osborne's death with a Glock 34 handgun.
This is reckless at a minimum.
Reckless homicide comes with a maximum sentence of 3 years in prison. Negligent homicide, 6 months. Reckless means ignoring significant risk, while negligent means not detecting it and violating duty of care. Pearson has been summoned to his arraignment next month.
Big changes, they are coming for Southwest Airlines tonight. It's getting rid of that open seating policy we all know. It's had its entire 50-year history. The airline says its research shows customers prefer assigned seating. Southwest will soon offer premium seating with extra legroom, which comes at an extra cost. No surprise there. The airline also will start offering overnight red-eye flights. Executives haven't said when these changes are going to go into effect, but we know more details are coming in September. All right, let's give you a live look over downtown Dayton tonight. A warm evening as you step outside. Let's check in with Tim, who's in for Natalie.
All right, another nice evening out here on the Watson's weather patio. The crickets are chirping, skies are nice and clear, nice and comfortable. Temperatures aren't too hot, dew points aren't too high either, so pretty comfortable right now, around 71 degrees. Some of us sitting in the 60s though. 61 as you head up towards Greenville, 66 out towards Richmond, and 66 as well as you head up towards Bell Fountain. Now, compared to this time yesterday, definitely a couple of degrees cooler, 9 degrees cooler, significantly cooler in Greenville and Wapakoneta, as well as over towards Wilmington, 9 degrees cooler and 8 degrees cooler in Middletown. Dayton only about a degree difference from this time yesterday. Now, next couple of days, we'll continue to see below average temperatures tomorrow, still relatively warm for the middle of summertime, but we'll continue to see those temperatures increase as we head towards Sunday. Higher dew points and higher temperatures close to 90.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Take Dayton
is sponsored by Thrush & Son Complete Home Improvement.
The Oregon District's Seat of Life sculpture is now installed in downtown Dayton. It was lifted into place by a crane and bolted down today. The sculpture is made of stainless steel with 9 rings representing each of the lives lost in the 2019 Oregon District shooting. Now, the dedication ceremony and unveiling of the completed memorial will be on August 4th, marking the 5-year anniversary of the shooting. It will be held at the Trolley Stop Pub from 3 to 4 p.m. The 2 top receivers of the Cincinnati Bengals not participating in training camp today. The explanation given by head coach Zach Taylor after the break.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
It's almost